Çağlar taşar çünkü aşk var. Kim var deyince işte ağzıma aşık bir nesil var. Kur'an'ın ışığıyla ümit dolu sinesi. Aşkın adı şuurlu Öğretmenler Derneği. Peygamberin izinde Hakk'a davettir sesi. Bu derdin adı şuurlu Öğretmenler Derneği.
Abdurrahman müziği alırsak programa başlayalım inşallah.
Değildir. Bizim davamız hak davadır. Ondan dolayı zafer inananlarda ve inananların olacaktır.
Evet.
Söz sizde hocam. Buyurun efendim.
Teşekkür ederim Abdurrahman hocam. Selamun aleyküm. Herkese merhabalar. Sevgili başkanım, sevgili konuşmacılar, siz değerli konuklarımız, bugün inşallah biz 2017'de ara verdiğimiz uluslararası eğitim konferanslarımıza bugün 8.'si olarak Zoom üzerinden devam edeceğiz inşallah. Bugünkü konuklarımız arasında Malezya'dan Teknoloji Üniversitesi'nden Mr. Kamaruzaman Yusoff var. Ve aynı zamanda yine konuklarımızdan Bosna Hersek asıllı Norveç'te Bosna Hersek İslam Toplumu liderliği ve imamlığını yapan ve benim de aynı zamanda okul arkadaşım olan kıymetli kardeşim Faruk Terzic beyefendi var. Bu değerli konuklarımızla bugün değerlendireceğimiz konu Dijital, Dünya ve Medya olacak. İki konuğumuzla biz dijital dünyanın insanlarımıza katkıları, insanlarımıza etkileri, bu konular üzerinde kendilerinden değerli değerlendirmelerini dinleyeceğiz. Bundan önce ben sözü açılış konuşmasını yapmak üzere Genel Başkanımız Sayın Hamdi Sürücü'ye konuşmayı tevdi etmek istiyorum. Buyurun Hamdi Hocam. Hamdi Hocam sesiniz gelmiyor şu anda. Yes. Şimdi geliyor.
Tamam. Açın.
Şimdi duyuyoruz hocam.
Sesiniz gelmiyor bana hocam.
Geldi hocam. Sesiniz geliyor başkanım, konuşabilirsiniz.
Ya
Siz
hocam
konuşabilirsiniz
sizin sesinizi
başkanım.
duymuyorum.
Hocam önemli değil, siz açılışı yapın başkanım. Herkes sizi duyuyor şu anda.
Tamam. Bana işaret et Abdü. Yakup Hoca başlayayım mı? Tamam.
Yes.
Tamam. Euzubillahimineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Elhamdülillahi Rabbil alemin. Vessalatu vesselamu ala Resulullah Muhammed ve ala alihi ve ashabihi ecmaîn. Esselamu aleyküm. Muhterem kardeşlerim, muhterem misafirlerim, hepiniz hoş geldiniz. Şuurlu Öğretmenler Derneği olarak 2011 yılında başlayıp da 2017 yılına kadar aralıksız 7 yıl devam ettirdiğimiz uluslararası eğitim konferanslarımızın 8.'sinde beraberiz. Bugün bu çalışmayı yapmayı ve siz değerli dostlarla beraber olmayı nasip eden Cenab-ı Hakk'a sonsuz şükürler olsun. Ona hamd ediyorum. Değerli Profesör Kamaruzaman Yusoff Bey yine bir uluslararası konferans çalışmamızda misafirimiz olmuştu. Bugün tekrar kendisini görme mutluluğuna erdim. Kendisini davetimizi kabul ettiği ve programımıza katıldığı için teşekkür ediyorum. Değerli Faruk Terzic Bey yine kendisiyle şimdiye kadar tanışma imkanımız olmadığı ama bugün kendisiyle uzaktan da olsa görüşme imkanına kavuştuğumuz, tanıştığımız misafirimiz. Kendisi hoş geldiler, sefa getirdiler. Her iki misafirimize de, konuşmacımıza da çok teşekkür ediyorum. Bugün çalışmamızı şereflendirdikleri için. Maşallah. Allah hayırlı ömürler versin delikanlıya. İnşallah ileriki zamanlarda her iki hocamızı da, her iki dostumuzu da Türkiye'de ağırlamak, Türkiye'de kendileriyle yüz yüze program yapmak nasip olur. İnşallah bunu en kısa zamanda, mümkün olan en kısa zamanda yapmayı düşünüyoruz. Evet, marifet iltifata tabidir diye bir sözümüz var bizim Türkiye'de. Bugün hocalarımız fikirlerini söyleyecekler, ilimlerini bizimle paylaşacaklar. Ama onların ilimlerini, fikirlerini paylaşmalarını daha da değerli kılacak olan, değerini arttıracak olan siz değerli misafirlerimiz, dinleyicilerimizsiniz. Sizlerin varlığı bize güç katmakta. Değerli dinleyicilerimiz, sizler de hoş geldiniz. Çalışmamızın değerini arttırdığınız için hem Şuurlu Öğretmenler Derneği mensupları adına, çalışanları adına hem de misafirlerimiz adına size de teşekkür ediyorum. Evet de dostlar, bu sene konferansımızın konusunu dijital dünya ve medya seçtik. Neden bunu seçtik? Çünkü geçmişe baktığımız zaman hayata yazılı medya diye bir şey girdi. Gazeteler girdik. İşte günlük, haftalık, aylık olarak yayınlanan yazılı evraklar vardı. Gazeteler vardı. Sonra bunun için peşinden sesli olarak radyo dediğimiz insanların konuşanı görmedikleri ama sesini duydukları aletler geldi ve insanlar bununla yönlendirilmeye başlandı. Daha sonra sese görüntü de eklendi. İnsanlar hem görüyorlardı hem duyuyorlardı konuşanı ve bununla işler yürümeye başladı. Tabii burada imkanlar geliştikçe yönlendiricilerin, yani insanları yönlendirmek isteyen, etkilemek isteyen güç sahiplerinin güçlerine güç katıyordu. Onlar toplumları şekillendirmek için, manipüle etmek için istedikleri güce erişmiş oluyorlar. Ama bugün gelinen noktada artık internetin yaygınlaşmasıyla buna dijital dünya dediğimiz kontrol edilmesi diğerlerinden çok daha zor, çok daha sıkıntılı olan bir mesele daha eklenmiş oldu. Bir işlem daha eklenmiş oldu. Ve bu dijital dünya evet faydalar getirdi. İnsanların ilme ulaşması, bilgiye ulaşması, haberleşmesi kolaylaştı, hızlandı. İnsanlar için birçok faydalar getirdi. Ama bunun yanında bu dijital dünya insanlara çok da zararlar getirdi. Bugün internetin yaygınlaşmasıyla, cep telefonunun yaygınlaşmasıyla artık haberler doğru yanlış ayrımı yapılmadan anında yayılmaya başlandı. Belki düne kadar haberler bir hafta sonra, 10 gün sonra insanlara uzak yerlere ulaşıyordu ama bugün saniyesinde haberler bütün dünyaya ulaşıyor. Bütün dünya öğreniyor. Ama bu kadar hızlı bir haberleşmenin, bu kadar bir hızlı bilgi akışının olduğu dünyada doğruyla yanlışı seçme imkanımız maalesef yok. Bunun yanında yine bu internetin bize getirdiği bir başka zorluk, artık anneler çocuklarını kendileri eğitmiyorlar. Çocuğun eğitimini de internete, cep telefonuna, tablete, bilgisayara bırakmış durumdalar. Belki karşılaştığımız en kötü sonuç ya da en zor durum bu olsa gerekir. Çünkü çocuklarımızı artık kendimiz değil, bizim ulaşamadığımız ama kendilerini bize ulaştığı birileri eğitmiş oluyor. Birileri şekillendirmiş oluyor. İşte onun için toplumun nereye gittiğini, bu dijital dünyadan nasıl etkilendiğini, bunu nasıl düzeltileceğini dert edindik. Tabii bugün aslında bütün dünya bu derdi yaşıyor ama dünyada bunun olumsuz etkilerinden nasıl kurtulacağımızla ilgili çok da ayağı yere basan bilgi yok, çalışma yok. Biz de Şuurlu Öğretmenler Derneği olarak bu gidişatın zararlarını konuşmaya, bu gidişatın zararlarından kurtulmak için neler yapabiliriz düşünmeye insanları davet etmek için bugün bu programı yaptık. Değerli misafirlerimiz, panelistlerimiz Kamaruzaman Bey ve Faruk Bey bu konuda bize olur dediler. Fikirlerini bizimle paylaşacaklar, düşüncelerini paylaşacaklar. Biz de inşallah onların düşüncelerinden, fikirlerinden ve ilimlerinden faydalanacağız. Kendilerine çok teşekkür ediyorum. çalışmamızı dinlemek için katılan diğer arkadaşlarımıza da teşekkür ediyorum. Ben sözü daha fazla uzatmadan sözü sahiplerine bırakayım. Buyurun hocalarım, çok teşekkürler. Tamam Yakup hocam.
Çok affedersiniz, çok özür dilerim. Yeniden sözü alacağım. Öncelikle Genel Başkanımız Hamdi Sürücü Bey'e çok teşekkür ediyorum konuşmalarından dolayı. Programımıza başlamadan önce kısaca programımızın akışını sizlere belirtmek istiyorum. Programımızın devamında Kamaruzaman Beyefendi'ye sözü vereceğim. Daha sonra Kamaruzaman Beyefendi'ye olan soruları kendisine aktaracağız.
Başkanım, sesinizi kısabilirsiniz.
Şu anda duyuluyor mu Abdurrahman Hocam? Kamaruzaman Beyefendi'nin konuşmasının ardından Faruk Terzic Beyefendi'ye sözü vereceğiz ve kendisinin sunumlarını dinleyeceğiz. Ve yine akabinde kendisine sorularımız olacak. Dinleyicilerimizden gelen sorularımızı kendisine aktaracağız. Ve programımızı belirlediğimiz süre içerisinde 9.30 civarına kadar inşallah sürdüreceğiz ve o civarda bitireceğiz. Kamaruzaman Beyefendi'ye söz vermeden önce ben kendisini sizlere kısaca tanıtmak istiyorum. Profesör Doktor Kamaruzaman Yusoff 1961 yılında Malezya'da doğdu. Lisans eğitimini Malezya'da, yüksek lisans ve doktora çalışmasını İngiltere Edinburgh'da tamamladı. Halen Malezya Teknoloji Üniversitesi İslam Medeniyeti Fakültesi'nde öğretim görevlisi olarak çalışmaktadır. Daha önce aynı fakültenin dekanlığını da yapmıştır. Orta Doğu, İslam tarihi, Osmanlı İmparatorluğu ve Malay dünyası arasındaki ilişkiler konusunda çok sayıdaki makalesi ve kitapları bulunmaktadır. Çalışmaları arasında Roma İmparatorluğu'nun çöküş nedenleri, 1071 Malazgirt Savaşı'nın Bizans İmparatorluğu'na etkisi, film ile çocuklara ahlaki terbiyenin verilmesi, 1951 petrol anlaşmasının İran'a verdiği zararlar, 1945-57 yılları arasında Malezya'nın bağımsızlık mücadelesi gibi konular bulunmaktadır. Araştırma ilgi alanları arasında İsrail-Filistin çatışmaları, Arap Baharları ve Türkiye, Suriye, Mısır, İran ve Suudi Arabistan'daki gelişmelere özel atıfla bulunmak suretiyle Orta Doğu'nun modern siyaseti yer almaktadır. Kendisi Malezya'daki çeşitli televizyon kanalları tarafından pek çok konuda en çok referans alınan akademisyenlerden biridir. Yayınlanmış birçok kitabın editörlüğünü yaptı ve çok sayıda makalesi yayınlandı. Şu anda Malezya Teknoloji Üniversitesi İslam Medeniyeti Fakültesi tarafından yayınlanan uluslararası bir dergi olan Ümran dergisinin baş editörüdür. Kamaruzaman ayrıca periyodik olarak Malezya'da ulusal bir kanalında yayın yapmakta ve Müslüman dünyası ile ilgili konuları tartışmaktadır. Son olarak 2017 yılında Uluslararası Eğitim Konferansları çerçevesinde 7.sini Sivas, Elazığ, Malatya, Karaman, Konya, Denizli, Ankara, Kocaeli ve İstanbul'da düzenlediğimiz konferanslarımızda konuşmacı olarak kendisi yer almıştır. Bu kısa tanıtımın ardından ben sözü değerli konuşmacımız Mr. Yusoff Kamaruzaman'a teslim etmek istiyorum. Buyurun efendim.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening to all of you. Let me share my presentation. It seems to me that the host still disable participant screen sharing. Please, Yakup, Kaya Hojam to help me. Otherwise, I cannot share the screen.
Abdurrahman Hocam şimdi açacak onu. Bekliyoruz. Onu Abdurrahman Hocam açacak.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank the Allah Subhanahu wa Taala for giving me opportunity to stay quite late tonight, because it's all about 1 o'clock in the morning in Malaysia. But I will try my best to keep alive, inshallah. I would like to thank the organizing committee, Hamdi Suruju Hojam, as well as Yakup Kaya Hojam, and the rest of the organizing committee for giving me the opportunity to join the program organized by the Council of Teachers in Turkey. Participants, ladies and gentlemen, tonight I would like to share with you some of the insights on the social media in modern life, positive and negative impacts on the new generation. Let me share screen if possible. Okay. This is the topic that has been given by the organizing committee, and then the one that I choose amended a little bit in order to make it more or much better in one way or another. Can you see the screen or not?
Yes, it is,
okay, thank you very
we
much.
are seeing very good.
Thank you very much. When we are talking about social media, it is all about websites, applications that enable users to create and share content or to participate in social networking, internet-based form of communication. So nowadays, as Suruju Hojam in his talk just now mentioned about the problem that we are facing nowadays, especially the Muslim community, whereby we are too busy with the 4 main users of social media, form the acronym SLIM, that is sharing. All of us would like to share. All of us would like to learn more, interact, as well as do marketing, selling our own products from time to time in order to attract others from all over the world. It doesn't matter whether good or bad. So nowadays we are having in front of us Facebook, for example, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and lots more to come. From our reading, we know that Facebook has been a very popular place for people 45 years old and above. Twitter especially attract more youngsters, as well as Instagram and YouTube. Nowadays, although they have TikTok, that is very straightforward, very simple, very limited in terms of time, but it attract more youngsters, and then everybody would like to be actor and actresses because they believe that when you can show your face and action in TikTok, you will get more money sometimes, and then at the same time also, it seems to me that they want to be more famous and popular as other actors and actresses all over the world. We are now also in the period whereby they call it IR 4.0, whereby 4 characteristics that everybody have to follow. That is Internet of Things, big data, robotics, as well as cyber security. So I can say that because of the very limited time, I can share with you some of the positive aspects of social media. For example, with these new inventions, we are able to know and be aware of the world around us. Like tonight, for example, although I am far away from Turkey, last week I was in Turkey, I was in Istanbul, but unfortunately because of brother Kaya Hojam, he is so busy, I not be able to see him. But at the same time also, we still have a time to learn, to know and be aware of different cultures from different parts of the world. We are also given a very good opportunity to know more in a very easiest way, a political upcomings in Turkey, war between Russia and Ukraine, for example, what is happening in Palestine, as well as in Syria. It is also an opportunity to develop caring and responsible citizen. Although we can see that most, for example, most of the Turkish people, they cannot speak English. But nowadays, due to the influence of social media, all of them can learn English easily. At the same time also, we can exchange our ideas through a lot of new gadgets that we have. Apart from that, we are also able to develop our social skills, our confidence, our communication skills, as well as ability to have a team building in a better and positive way. We are also managed to develop ourselves in terms of reading as well as writing skills. Previously, when we are talking about English as a main communication among us, we can see that most of us are very shy to talk or to read or even to write because our inability to communicate. But nowadays, due to the advancement of the new gadgets, we don't have that particular problem anymore. And then Alhamdulillah, we have the ability to connect easily to other nation without any problem. So ladies and gentlemen, since this program has been organized by Council of Teachers, I would like to share also some of our concern when we are talking about the purpose of education and its current problems that has been facing, especially by the Muslim teachers nowadays. We have the problem nowadays, although we try our best to provide guidance to children from an early age through the provision of educational stimulus to help growth and physical and spiritual development so that children have readiness in entering the next basic education and life stage. But because of this new gadget, new social media that already given to them right from the beginning. Some of them, for example, managed to get the handphone, smartphone at a very early age. We can see that, for example, the World Health Organization reports that between 5 to 25% of preschoolers suffer from developmental disorders, including motion, language, and social emotional delays, which have been increasing in recent years due to inappropriate usage of the gadget amongst them. It is also very sad to share that according to Browner and Stephens, suggests that around 9.5% to 14.2% of early childhood children have social, emotional problems that have a negative impact on school development and readiness due to the negligence shown by some of the parents, for example, because they are giving them too early and too much time to the usage of the social media gadgets. Children experience psychosocial problems, especially emotional social problems, such as anxiety, difficulty adapting, difficulty socializing, so on and so forth, because of they has been given at a very early stage connection or the usage of this gadget that we are talking about. There are also, we have found that at this time, many parents or caregivers intentionally facilitate their children to be busy doing fun gadgets, not educational, but fun gadgets, so that parents are more free to move without having to keep on accompanying them in their own activities. So actually, apart from that, we have also to understand or to realize there are some of their best practices and expectation to our children that we have to understand, and then we have to keep that as part of our responsibility to our own children. For example, we have to understand that children should be able to, between the age of 5 to 6, develop of self-understanding, self-awareness, and self-recognition of themselves, and self-esteem, rather than following, for example, some of the examples that they have, either from animation, from cartoon, or some other objects that they learn from time to time. They also have to develop some sort of social relations. And then they have to know that there are some type of negative aspect of it. For example, if they are living in unoccupied behavior, onlookers behavior, they have also to learn how to play, how to have a parallel play, associative play, and cooperative play. That particular ability, they cannot find it when they are in front of the computers, for example, when they are playing with the gadget, and then when they are lacking this type of ability, so it will affect their life later on. So apart from that, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to share also some of the positive impact of social media. For example, during their early childhood, I can say that they have to learn how to develop their imagination through social media, either cartoon, as I said, or some of the program that has been mentioned in their social media. They know how to develop their imagination. They already have some training in order to develop their intelligence, about self-confidence. But we are also need them to develop their ability in reading, mathematics, and problem solving. If we can guide them properly in one way or another, we believe that their early childhood, they will manage to develop this type of ability, and later on will help them to be a very positive citizen as well as to be a good future leaders, inshallah. We also have to very careful because they also will get the ease of information whenever they flip to some of the information there, they can easily get that particular information. And they also will be able to have friends from all over the world. For example, at this particular time, at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the evening in Turkey, they are able to communicate with their own friends in Malaysia, although the time frame is different. As a result of the technological advancement also, many creative and challenging games loved by the children. I'm not sure whether some of you or some of your children ever come across some of the cartoon that has been developed in our society, Upin and Ipin, for example. I watch it from the Turkish program. There are also Upin and Ipin. That show that how the Muslim entrepreneurs, how Muslim who are involved in preparing this animation have their own role to give a very good example to the children. How, for example, to behave themselves in front of their beloved parents. What they should do during the month of Ramadan, for example, and so on. What they should do whenever they are engaged with their friends with different religion and cultures. So those are the things that if we can make it in a very good way, it will give a very good positive impact to our new generation. It is also the ability to increase the self-confidence. For example, when children win a game, they will be motivated to finish the whole game. But if they spend a lot in games only, it will create another unnecessary problem. Apart from that, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to also share with you some of the negative impacts of the gadgets. I would like to emphasize on this negative impact of that, since if we are unable to help them to develop or to let them learn by themselves only without our guidance, I'm pretty sure these particular negative impacts, about 10 altogether, will not only give a very negative to the environment, but also to the development of our new generation, especially those who are at a very tender age during their school everywhere in the world. For example, with this particular gadgets, I can say that it will help youngsters to drastically change their brain development. For example, during the toddler years, between 3 to 5, for example, the brain triples in size and continues to develop until adult years. But if we only giving them this type of one type only of education, or only showing them from time to time, let them play with the gadgets, so it may negatively affect a child's brain on its functioning, because it will be only one-way communication, and may even cause attention deficit, whereby they cannot give an attention for more than 3 minutes, for example. After that, they will leave it, and then they will go to another place, and then they will start to another program. They will change to another game, and then later on, it will decrease ability to self-regulation. Because at this particular stage, we have the responsibility to regulate them. Because at the very tender age, they know nothing except to be happy, to be alone, and not to be controlled by others. Smart parenting advises parents to sing together, to read together, and to talk to them rather than letting them either to play with any type of gadget or to watch TV at home alone. This is very important part. If we allow them to continuously watching TV or playing with a gadget, it will not help them to enhance their brain development and ability. Second, ladies and gentlemen, it is all about obesity. Because children who rely their playing time in front of screens rather than outside in the playground, there is no physical exercise. They don't have ability to burn the calories that they take in. And then later on, what was happening in the US, for example, obesity, which may lead to complications such as diabetes, heart attack, and unhealthy life. The third negative impact of that, I want to go very fast, because I know that we have another speakers.
Yes, Mr. Kamaruzaman, you have 5 minutes
Okay.
approximately. Yes.
Don't worry. Yeah, I will stop when time comes.
Okay.
Okay. The third is about violence, because what they learn from the internet, for example, not all about positive, but mostly about negative. Bruce Lee, for example, fighting each other. When we watch the Korean film, for example, when I was in Turkey, I managed to watch some of the film, in current Korean language. We can see how bad, how negative is the film, because they're always telling us violence, quarreling, fighting, accident, so on and so forth. It is all about, when we are talking about unhealthy part of this particular gadget, it is all about radiation exposure. We hope that our program will last only mostly 2 hours, and then we are not, in front of the computer for too long in order to avoid this radiation exposure. But it is happening to our children from time to time, which is very, very bad. It is also reduced interaction when people, even youngsters, even old people, when they are busy updating their Facebook, they don't have even time to talk to their children, to talk to their wife. Even during the time where they are in the restaurant. It's happened almost everywhere. This is very bad attitude that we have to change. Start from ourselves, from our family. It will also make another problem, that is sleep deprivation, whereby we cannot sleep. Why? Not because we are having lecture at about 1, like what I'm having now, but they always busy watching, looking, and then updating anything that they have. Later on, they don't have time to sleep. They don't have enough time to sleep and rest. And then later on, it will continuously. So tomorrow, they have less focus on some other things. This is also related to no exposure to nature, as I mentioned. I hope that our translator will do it a little bit. And then also it's come into addiction. When you addict to something, heroin, marijuana, and some other things, later on you cannot do anything. You will forget everything, and then your time your thinking, your eyes, your ears, only focusing on that particular gadget that you have. It is also for sure will damage your eyesight. So this is some of the example how advertisement and unrealistic body image, as has been shown, from time to time, give a very bad impact to youngsters. You look into the, for example, to the faces of K-pops, Korean singers, actresses. None of them having the original pure Korean faces, but there has been did some plastic surgery here and there, and it's look very good, very shiny, very bright, and then later on, you will follow them, and then you are in a dream or in a fantasy life. This is all about violence and illicit love becomes normal. As you see from Bollywood, for example, Chinese, as well as Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is also some of the bad things. You have to look into it, and then you will be what they call it, couch potato, because you are not doing any exercise. There will be also low score in school, and then you are losing haya. That is modesty, whereas modesty is a threat most people lose because of social media. So last but not least, I would like to share also some of the advice from the Islamic teaching. For example, when the Quran says, surely prayer forbids indecency and evil. So how to overcome this particular problem? Please follow the timetable set by God, that is doing namaz at a proper time. We believe that by doing namaz will attract us more to the positive thinking, and then later on will help us to reduce the negative part of the daily life that we used to have. Same also when God says, believers fear Allah as He should be feared, and see that you do not die save in the state of submission to God. Same also what Surah Al-Mu'minun telling us from verses 1 to 3. And then we also learn what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, whosoever of you sees an evil action, let him change it with his hand. And he is not able to do so, then with his tongue. And if he is not able to do so, then with his heart. And that is the weakest of ways, Rawahu Muslim. I also would like to pay your attention to the what Ibn Mas'ud says. That is, Rahimallahu rajulan man arafa zamanahu wal tazama bidinihi. That is, may God have mercy on a man who knew his time. It is our responsibility, brothers and sisters, to teach our new generation. This is the time where we live. This is the period where we live. But it is our responsibility to adhere to our own religion in order to be safe here and the hereafter. So this is part of our responsibility, that we have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it is our responsibility to enhance their religious understanding as well as to guide them to be future leaders. We believe that with self-discipline and self-censorship will help us and them. We also need the ability to differentiate. We also need to understand the reality. We have to set up a working group to work together. And then we also have to consult experts on how to manage. When we were young, most of us, we don't have all this new gadget. But nowadays we are facing with the IR 4.0, whereby out of the sudden we have to face this, and then we don't know what to do. So thanks very much for your attention. I would like to stop here because of time limit. Thank you for everything. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Tashakkur.
Malezya'dan Kamaruzaman Yusoff hocamıza çok çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Kendisi bizim Türkiye'de saat 8 ama Malezya'da saat 1-1.30 civarı ve kendisine özellikle de teşekkür ediyoruz. Bu saatte orada gecenin geç vaktinde bizim bu davetimizi kabul ederek bizi kırmadı. Sizlere bu sunumlarını yaptığı için kendisine ayrıca da teşekkür ediyoruz. Kendisine bir iki sorumuz olacak. O sorulardan birisini sormak istiyorum şimdi. Sosyal medyanın zararlarından korunmak için yasaklamak yerine doğru kullanmayı teşvik etmek ve rehberlik etmek bir yöntem olabilir mi?
Yes, of course. Yes. Instead of prohibiting our new generation to become part and partial of this big society, we have no choice. Yeah, we have to be part of them. But the question is, what is our responsibility first? Second, what we can do in order to bring about peace in the society, in order to bring the whole world tolerance. Now we are facing with Islamophobia. The Turkish government, as well as the Malaysian government, we managed to sign some sort of agreement between the two countries on how to contain the Islamophobia in the world. So we cannot only use our tongue. We cannot use only our limited ability in writing in the newspaper, for example, giving lecture here and there in a very limited space and time. We have now the open opportunity. If, for example, those who are against Islam, for example, they are using this gadget to open everything to everybody. At the same time, they have, for example, what they call it, deep states. They have some sort of very big opportunity to elaborate, to share a lot of negative things. So it is our responsibility also to share the goodness of our culture, the positive aspect of our religion, for example, in order to convince others. You can see how many people who has been converted to Islam because of the good things, because of the good sermon, as well as lecture series given by Imam Menk, for example, by Tariq Ramadan and some other people. So in order to help the new generation to be part of this global society, we have to first to teach them the good and the bad. First. Second, to prepare to them a very good type of knowledge so that they can communicate with others. They will be able to use a very good language, very positive one, in order to attract people. Or if they cannot attract people, they have at least to help them to understand what is the reality of life, what is the purpose of being a human being in this world. Is it because of we want to be happy all the time, or we have our own responsibility, that is to be the caliph of God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is to bring about peace and stability in this world, that is to share the common share and then the common values that we already have in order to share with other people. So this is my general answer to that. Thank you.
Sayın Kamaruzaman, cevabınız için çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Çok fazla sorular da geldi ama ben bir soru daha sorup sizinle konuşmamızı sonlandırmak istiyorum. Sorumuz şöyle: sosyal medyadan kaçınmak mümkün mü? Dijital çağda sosyal medyadan uzak durabilmek ne kadar mümkündür?
yeah, in general, I can say that people will say that you are mad, you are crazy, you are going back to the cave, you are going to stay in the Cappadocia. Yeah, if you say that you want to avoid all of these things, why should we avoid? This is also part of the technology that we have to learn, that we have to be part of this society. If we can, this is what meant by, I mentioned, ya rahimallahu rajulan man arafa zamanahu fastaqamat lidinihi. That is, God is giving his mercy to a man, not only necessary a man, but to anybody who really understand, yeah, the world that where they are living now. We have to understand that we are not living in the 14th century. We are not living in the 18th century. We are not living in the before the time of Jesus Christ, but we are living in the Industrial Revolution 4.0. So our responsibility is much more bigger and more significant than what our ancestors did. For example, during the time of the Ottoman Empire, yeah, I just give you a very simple example. People, they are living in the world whereby there are already a connection, yeah, between the Malay world and the Ottoman Empire. But it's very difficult to reach there. They need at least 30 days, yeah, sailing, yeah, using boats, big ship in order to reach to Istanbul at that time. But nowadays, we can go there, we will reach there within 12 days. So which one we want to choose? Whether we want to take a sailing boat to reach there 30 days, by that time probably war is even finished, or we want to make use of this, this particular gadget. We must understand that this particular gadget or the world that we are living now, it is like a piece of knife. We can kill other people in a very negative way, or we can use that to cut, yeah, small portion of shawarma and Iskandar kebab or Adana kebab. We can make it, and then after that we eat together. So which one we want to choose? We want to use it a very negative way, but we have no choice. But we have to use knife, for example. So in this case, we have no choice, but we have to use all of this gadget. There is no value, no negative value. There is no positive value. It is us. It is a responsibility of our ability to think and to use it in a very positive way. If we always looking at this particular gadget as negative, so this world will leave you, or you have to go back. As I said to you, you have to go back and stay in the cave. Like people, yeah, 20 or 10 or 20,000 years ago. But now we are facing the real world. So we have to be ready in order to be part of this big community. And then we have to know also what is our responsibility, what we have to do in order to be part of the community. And then inshallah, we will bring all of them justice, we will bring of them tolerance, and then later on, yeah, we will be the leader as what some of the world Muslim leaders are doing now. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Kamaruzaman, as I said, there is very much questions there. Ben Türkçe'ye devam edeceğim. Size bir soru daha soracağım ama sınırlı olacak biraz daha zamanımız. Sorumuz şöyle: kötü niyetli kişilerin, pedofili ve benzeri insanların kötülüklerinden nasıl korunabiliriz? Ve buna bağlantılı olarak şöyle de bir şey söyleyebilir miyim? Bu korunma yollarında alternatifi evde ve okulda neler olabilir, neler yapılabilir? Birkaç cümleyle bu sorularımıza cevap verebilirseniz seviniriz.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, this is very big question. I don't think I can answer in a very short way. Okay, first we have to have the ability, okay, to weigh between good and bad. This is before we are able to weigh between good and bad. We have to know what is bad, what is good. Okay, in order to know what is good and what is bad, we have to use certain scale. Yeah, they call it either kilogram or gram or whatever. So as a Muslim, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala through the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam already gave us, telling us, showing us that is, if you are any doubt about anything, please refer to the Quran. Please refer to the hadith salawatullah wa salamu alaihi. So education, learning process is unavoidable. If we think that we can use our brain only, so we will fail. This is why the philosophers fail. You can call them either Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, all of them fail. Even to bring about peace and stability in the Roman Empire. Because we are talking about Constantinople, yeah, before the coming of Al-Fatih, you see. So, why they fail? Because they don't have, they believe in their brain only to think. They don't believe in the wahyu from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So, Alhamdulillah, God give us this wahyu. We are already Muslim, so it is our responsibility to weigh between good and bad. How to weigh? We have to use the scale. What is the scale? That is the Quran, and then the Sunnah, and the Qawl Sahaba, and then after that, insyaAllah, we will be going ihdinas siratal mustaqim, show us the right path to continue our life, insyaAllah. So thank you very much. Teşekkür ederim. Assalamualaikum.
Ve aleykümselam. Mr. Kamaruzaman, çok teşekkür ediyorum. Sevgili dinleyiciler, mütercim hanımefendiye bir 5 dakika kazandırmak için ben sayın konuşmacımız Yusoff Kamaruzaman'ın söylediklerinden birkaç cümle sizlere özet yapmaya gayret edeceğim. Twitter, Instagram ve TikTok'u daha çok gençlerin kullandığından bahsetti Mr. Kamaruzaman. Gençlerin ünlü olmak için ve para kazanmak için birilerine özenerek TikTok'u ve değişik sosyal medya araçlarını kullandığını söyledi. Bu konulardan bahsederken sosyal medyanın yararları ve faydaları ve daha sonra da zararlarından bahsetti. Kendisi faydalarından birisi olan dünyadan haberdar olduğumuzu, dünyada neler olup bittiğini sosyal medya aracılığıyla çok kısa bir şekilde ve hızlı bir şekilde aldığımızı bahsetti. Sonra yine bu sosyal medyanın en büyük etkenlerinden ve faydalarından birisinin de dil üzerinde olduğunu söyledi. Bu sosyal medya aracılığıyla İngilizce bilmeyen bir kişi kolaylıkla sosyal medyadan İngilizceyi öğrenebileceğini, hemen sosyal medyadan çeviriler yaparak karşılıklar verebileceğini bahsetti. Yine insanların okuma ve yazma becerilerinin geliştiğini bahsetti. Tabii bu dijital dünya üzerindeki okuma yazma gelişiyor. Onun dışında ben de şunu ekleyebilirim. Olumsuz etkisi olarak kalemle yazma beceriksizliği de sosyal medya aracılığıyla fazlalaştı. Olumsuz etkilerinden daha çok bahsetti Yusoff Bey. Gençlerin beyin gelişimleri çok olumsuz etkilendiğinden ve özellikle de gençlik öncesindeki yaşlarda, çocuk yaşlarında dikkat eksikliğinin oluştuğundan bahsetti. Obezite sorunlu ile karşı karşıya kalındığını, çok büyük hareketsizlikler sebebiyle sosyal medyanın önünde çok hareketsiz kalınmasından dolayı obezite sorununun başladığını, sağlık sorununun da başladığını ifade ettiler. Çocukların internetten şiddeti öğrendiklerini ve sosyal medyada görmüş oldukları şiddeti çevrelerinde uygulama olumsuzluklarıyla karşılaştıklarını belirtti. Çocuklarda anksiyetenin oluştuğunu, sosyalleşme sorununun oluştuğunu, arkadaşlıklarının azaldığını bahsetti. Ve yine bunların önlenebilmesi için akıllı ebeveynler olmanız gerektiğini, çocuklarımızı kontrol altında takip ederek sosyal medyadan yararlandırmamızı bahsetti. Onlara yararlı içerikleri izletebileceğimizi, inancımızın gerektirdiği sosyal medyadaki içerikleri kendileriyle beraber izleyebileceğimizden bahsetti. Bu konular üzerinde bahseden Kamaruzaman Yusoff beyefendiye konuşmalarından dolayı çok çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Kendisi Malezya'da biraz önce de bahsettiğim gibi gece yarısı oldu. O saatlerde bizi bekleyip sizlere bu sunumunu gerçekleştireceği için kendisine çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Sağ olsun. Şimdi konferansımıza ikinci konuşmacımız Faruk Terzic beyefendi ile devam etmek istiyorum. Faruk Terzic beyefendinin kısa biyografisini sizlere aktarmak istiyorum. Faruk Terzic 14 Temmuz 1976 tarihinde Bosna Hersek'in Bugojno şehrinde doğmuştur. Halen Norveç'in Oslo şehrinde ikamet etmektedir. Arapça, Boşnakça, Norveççe, İngilizce ve temel düzeyde Urduca konuşabilen Terzic, 2002-2007 yılları arasında İslamabad, Pakistan, Uluslararası İslam Üniversitesi Usulüddin İslam Araştırmaları Fakültesi Karşılaştırmalı Din bölümünde öğretim görevlisi olarak görev yapmış. 2007-2008 yılları arasında aynı bölümde doçent olarak hizmet vermiştir. Pakistan İslamabad Uluslararası İslam Üniversitesi Dava Akademisi Danışma Kurulu üyesi olan Terzic'in çeşitli dergilerde makaleleri yayımlanmıştır. 2010 yılından beri Norveç, Bosna ve Hersek İslam Toplumu Merkezi lideri ve imamı olarak Oslo'da bulunan Terzic, Norveç İslam Bilgi Komitesi ve Müslüman İrtibat Ağı birimlerinin yöneticiliğini de yapmaktadır. Oslo Üniversitesi Dinler Arası ve İslam Araştırma grubunun üyesi olan Terzic aynı zamanda Norveç Din ve Hayat Toplulukları Konsey üyeliğini de yapmaktadır. Bunlara ek olarak Faruk Terzic kardeşim, aynı üniversiteden mezun olduğumuz arkadaşım. Bu ÖDER'in çalışmalarında kendisini ilk defa konuk ediyoruz. Ama ümit ediyorum ki ileriki zamanlarda kendisini fiziken de burada misafir etmek isteriz ve kendisinin sohbetlerini dinlemek isteriz. Buyurun Faruk Bey, söz sizde.
Thank you very much. I hope you are able to hear me.
Yes, we hear you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to the teachers of Turkey. I'm so much honored. I'm sure that many of you can talk even better than me and about this topic, but I will share some of my experiences, some of my understanding, and some of my knowledge about this topic. First of all, I'm talking as a parent. I am I have 3 kids. They were born in Oslo, and they are growing up in Oslo. I'm talking also as a religious leader, as someone who is engaged directly with the religious community, Islamic religious community in Oslo. And that is very much specific because we, especially the Bosnian Muslim community and other communities, they are so-called minority communities, and they are, what can I say, directly living there in the West, and they are directly exposed to many challenges that perhaps some of the Muslims in majority countries, they are not exposed to. And I think that's a very significant difference. I would also like to share my presentation. I have a short presentation, although Professor Kamaruzaman has already shared many of my points, and I'm very happy about that, because then I can just go to some other points and perhaps elaborate a little bit more on them. So now, if Saat and Islah are two Quranic concepts that are very, very important, and even if when you open the Quran on the first page of Surah Al-Baqarah, if Saat is mentioned, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ لَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ قَالُوا إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ مُصْلِحُونَ. So this is very important Quranic verse that we have to think, and I think it's very relevant to our topic today. The second thing is some ethical perspectives of Ifsad and Islah on internet for children and the youth. And Professor Kamaruzaman has been going to some very important details. Some of the details that he explained, I will not be discussing them. Perhaps I will mention some other as well. Now, when we are living in this global world, when we are discussing issues on global level, it's not only the Muslims who are interested in this topic, it's also many other religious communities, who are very interested in what's going on internet, what's going on with their children, what's going on with their youth. But perhaps because of some different teachings that we have related to religion and theology, we have to find also common ground when we talk to them, so that we can cooperate and work together in order to face these challenges which we have in front of us, especially in internet and social media. So should we talk about morality or should we talk about ethics? Morality and ethics are almost the same concepts. They are almost, they have almost the same definition, but morality is usually related more to some religious and cultural values that perhaps sometimes don't have a very rational argument. They are something that we get in the family. They are something that we learn in the society where we live. They are something that we inherit from our forefathers, and we don't think so much about them. We don't care about explaining them so much. We just take them as given. On the other side, ethics is something more philosophical, I should say, something that we can argue about so much with rational arguments, where we can have strong rational arguments about, and where we can take philosophical sides, and where we can discuss things a lot, where this is the place where actually discussion is not only allowed, the discussion is needed actually to sharpen and to understand these views. Now, if we, what should I say, for example, people of Muslim faith, we as the Muslims, if we only think about morality And if we try to solve the issue of internet and social media, which is sometimes very harmful, we will not find friends to help us. And internet and the contents that are made on internet are usually not controlled by the Muslim countries. So what I believe is that we really have to find common grounds in ethical issues, in ethical arguments, and try to find people, countries, communities, religions who are willing to cooperate with us. So what I believe is, and what I would like to suggest is to find the common grounds in these ethical perspectives when we discuss challenges of internet, so that we can find people, intellectuals, institutions, countries, perhaps political parties, who are understanding our argument, who agree with us, and who can help us solve this, who can help us regulate the internet, actually. We as parents, as individuals, we can do little. We will be just responding to the challenges. The challenges will be new every day. And we will reach a point as simple parents with less education, we will not know what's going on. It is important that we are, as parents, involved. It is important that we as institutions are involved in this. But I think this is larger than us, larger than a simple family, father and mother. This is something that needs huge, huge action on a global level. When we talk about the internet and social media as well, we have different levels of challenges, especially for the youth and the children. And this is a very these are the generations that we are very much interested in. We have challenges which are related on individual level, which means that each and every child is actually affected positively or negatively through the social media, through the internet. And then we have the social challenge, where the groups and the relations within the groups are influenced positively or negatively, and mostly we are talking about the negative aspects. And then we have also the global issues. It's not only individual or the group social relations, but it's on the global level. And I can give you one example, and that is the freedom of speech and freedom of expression. That is actually the biggest, what should I call it, the value that internet provides, the freedom of speech and freedom of expression. But you know, someone who has grown up as a Muslim, for him or her, the freedom of speech and freedom of expression will be something. And for someone who has some other kind of background, freedom of speech and freedom of expression will be something else. They will both value the freedom of speech and freedom of expression, but there can be some collision between these two, right? So this is on a global level where big countries, important politics, huge companies, they have many things to say, and a single parent cannot do much about it. A single parent or a family, a small family somewhere in Turkey or in Bosnia or in Malaysia, they will just have to adjust to that big decision that is made by powerful agents in the world. Some of the advantages that I would like to turn your attention to, and Professor Kamaruzaman already spoke about them, some of them, is that I don't think that humanity has seen so much khair and so much islah than what we find today on internet. It's just amazing. What kind of information you can know just by Googling it, by searching it on Google. It's amazing how quickly you can learn, how quickly you can acquire new abilities, how quickly you can discover new talents. It's just amazing and overwhelming. I don't think that there has been a point in humanity that such huge development happened in one generation. We can talk about Khidr alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam and the knowledge Khidr alayhi salam had, isn't it, compared to the knowledge of Musa alayhi salam? That's just this internet. I mean, I don't want to compare it with that, but it gives me this kind of impression of how much today we can know, and how much, when we have access to the internet, how much we can know. The second thing that is amazing is the accessibility of the knowledge. I mean, if you have a simple mobile phone and internet connection, you don't need library. You don't need to go to the library, and you don't need to go to the library from 8 o'clock morning till 7 o'clock evening. Internet is always open. It's always accessible. So, I mean, this is something that didn't exist in the 1950s, last century. It didn't exist even in the 1970s. And you can imagine how huge development happened because of internet. Kamaruzaman was talking about how it's so beautiful that we can communicate with each other. Now I'm in Bosnia. Brother Kamaruzaman is in Malaysia. You are in Turkey, and we are talking together. I mean, this is like 40 years ago or 50 years ago, this was almost science fiction. But today it's a reality. What is also important is that you can get education online. Many of the universities, many of the schools, and we have seen it particularly during the Corona crisis in the last 2 years, that most of our education happened actually online using the internet. And lastly, and Brother Kamaruzaman already spoke about this, is the useful in entertainment, that you can find so many beautiful videos, so many beautiful music, so many beautiful poetry, so many wonderful information that you can really enjoy and spend wonderful time with your kids, with your family, and learn something new and really have enjoyed evening or day together with them. Of course, there are many disadvantages as well, and I just, Professor Kamaruzaman already spoke about some of them. I will not repeat them. Now it's antisocial, that people lost the touch with reality. They don't know how to make friends, how to be with friends, how to play together, and so on. This is a very important aspect of human life. Addiction, vulgarity, extremism. I mean, unfortunately, most of the extremists are using social media to spread their ideas and to create their networks and so on. That's a very dangerous development that we find now on internet. And of course, reliability. And reliability is very important because not everything that is on the internet is true. And we heard about so many concepts like fake news, like exaggeration. And we know that people would like to have more attention, more views, more money. So they go to extremes, right? They go to different sort of extremes that actually a 14-year-old boy or 10-year-old boy or a girl is not able to comprehend and to see and to understand what is actually going on. Now, I already spoke a little bit about this, and we have to educate people about, we have to educate our youth about internet and about social media. I was talking to my children and I gave them, as a parent, I tried to give them one simple advice, and that is don't be controlled by your mobile, control your mobile. Kamaruzaman also put it beautifully when he gave the example of knife. The knife can be, used as something really bad, but you can also, with knife, you can cut bread or, do some very useful things. So parental guidance and assistance is absolutely necessary in this. And that means that parents have to educate themselves about social media, about use of internet, about the dangerous side of the internet. They just have to learn about it. They cannot ignore it. It would be very harmful if today's parents will be ignoring the issues of internet. The educational institutions, sport clubs, religious institutions, voluntary organizations, they all have to play a role in this. It's not only that we at home should speak to our children, that the schools should speak to the children about this. It's also their sports clubs. It's also the masjid and the imams or churches, whosoever. They should play also a very positive role in this, and they should talk about it. So in such a way that they provide that guidance and that they provide useful knowledge which can be used and applied in the case of youth and the children. And of course, legislation is very important. And that is, I think, the key. How to regulate the internet, how to involve the political parties, how to get the political parties make laws in the parliaments, how to pass these laws, how to protect the society, how to help the parents, the families, the individuals, right? How to help them actually to find and to get the best out of internet. There is so much good in internet, and we really have to benefit from it as much as we can. So internet gives us so many possibilities that perhaps previous generations never had. But it also gives us so many challenges, so much shar. It's not only khair in internet, but there's also so much shar in internet that we are not able to comprehend it. actually. We are not able to comprehend it. Just one simple example, I was listening to one of the Canadian philosophers. He was saying that no young man has ever been exposed to so many inappropriate visual contents as today's youth and today's young people have been exposed to. I mean, this is really something that we should worry about, and that we should discuss in all the possible forums, and raise these ethical issues and challenges that our youth are facing today, especially in the regard of internet. Thank you for your attention.
Biz çok teşekkür ederiz Mr. Faruk Terzic. Size de konuşmamızda birkaç sorumuz olacak. Sorularımız var bayağı, ama birkaç tanesini size aktarmak istiyorum. Küresel organize kötülüğe karşı bireysel karşı duruş veya korunma olamayacağını belirttiniz. Küresel ıslah hareketi için evrensel değerler ortak paydası nasıl oluşturabiliriz?
I think, we have to have powerful research. We have to have good research, which will tell us and explain to us what's going on. It should tell us about the dangers of internet. It should tell us what kind of problems it is creating for the youth and for the children. And then we should have our local groups, different institutions, involve as many people as we can, and put this agenda in front of our political leadership and ask them to do something about it. And then use the international arena, use the international organizations like the United Nations, like the UNICEF, like the humanitarian organizations. Try to put these challenges on the agenda and try to discuss them and do something about them. We have seen that some of the most powerful people of today's world, leaders of Facebook, leaders of powerful technological companies like Tesla Motors, they have been asked in the American USA Congress. They had to answer some of the difficult questions, actually, and the new legislations have been introduced. And we have seen also that, for example, European Union has, stopped Google to use to transport the personal information from European Union to the United States, and so on. We have seen that the political power in this regard is working, and that something can be done. And I can tell you that new generations will produce something that we haven't thought about. And that will be even more challenging. So I guess that we have to start talking. We have to start raising our voice. We have to have sound and good arguments so that people understand us. We shouldn't be using arguments that only we understand. We should build bridges with like-minded people, so that people understand what we are talking about, and that people can help us resolve our challenges.
Teşekkür ediyorum Faruk Bey. İkinci sorumuz şöyle olacak. Sizler de belirttiniz, Kamaruzaman hocamız da belirtti. Kötülükler hızla yayılıyor, sizlerin de belirttiği gibi. Bunlara hızlı tedbirleri alabilmemizi sağlayacak şeyler nedir? Nasıl hızlı tedbirler alabiliriz?
I'm afraid there is no simple solution for a complex problem. This cannot be done. I mean, I can stop my children to use mobile, for example, but everyone else in the classroom is using the mobile. So my children will be seen as strange, and me as a parent will be very seen as a strict parent and somebody who is not in touch with today's world. I believe we can talk to our children. They will be making mistakes. We have been making mistakes. We should not blame them. We also, as parents, as youth, we have been making mistakes. So our tolerance should be bigger. Our heart should be bigger. And we should keep talking and talking and talking. And inshallah, it will be useful. I mean, Professor Kamaruzaman was mentioning a very nice statement from Ibn Mas'ud. And that statement is very important. Even Ali ibn Abi Talib is saying that bring up your children not for the time you are living it, but for the time they are going to live in. So this is a very important issue. I'll just say also that we also used to have, and especially in the Ottoman Empire, I could say, even in the Indian subcontinent, we used to make big mistakes. The ulama, the religious leaders, they used to make big mistakes. One of them is, for example, that they didn't allow, there are some fatwas, right? There are some fatwas that we should not allow our girls to go to the schools. Why? Because they were foreign teachers, non-Muslim teachers. What kind of ethics they will learn there? This was the huge argument, you know, and unfortunately, some of the young women generations, they have been without education. And now with the internet, I hope we are not going to make same mistakes. We have to be very open-minded, and we have to see that there is a challenge, real challenge in front of us. And in the Hanafi fiqh, perhaps Kamaruzaman is Shafi'i, but the Turks and the Bosnians are like, they have this Hanafi tradition. And the Hanafi fiqh tradition is saying that umum al-balwa, there is a general musibat, general problematic, right? That we have to address it. Even during the time of Umar, for example, they give this example of Umar ibn al-Khattab. I guess, was it Umar ibn al-Khattab, that there was 1 year where there was no rain. People were without their crops. People were not having anything to eat. So some thieves, some people, they started stealing the things. And Umar radiallahu anhu, he didn't allow them to be punished because he said we didn't provide them food. Right? So I think we should be very creative. We should not be afraid. We should try to understand what's going on. We should know what we want to preserve, what kind of youth we want to have, what kind of new generations we want to have, and work slowly on it. It's not going to happen very quickly. It's not a quick fix, as they say. It's a very complex issue, and we need broad global cooperation on this and get as many friends on board as we can get. From all the nations, from all the religions, from all the regions, from all the ethnicities, we have to talk about this.
Faruk Bey, çok teşekkür ediyorum. Konuşmanız ve sorulara verdiğiniz cevaplarla ilgili olarak. Ve ben birkaç cümlenizi tekrar etmek istiyorum. Tabii ki sizin ifade ettiğiniz kadar değerli toplu da olmayabilir ama erişilebilirlik, bilgiye erişim, eğer internetimiz varsa kütüphaneye ihtiyaç duymayacağımızı ifade ettiniz. Online eğitim alabiliyorsunuz. Salgın döneminde bu internet, sosyal medyanın faydası ortaya çıktı dediniz. Faydalı videolar, müzikler, bilgiler elde edilebilir, eğlendirebilir internet. İfade özgürlüğü internetin sağlamış olduğu en büyük değerlerden bir tanesi olduğunu ifade ettiniz. Özellikle de Müslümanların bunu çok iyi değerlendirebileceğini ve bu şekilde kendilerini çok daha özgür bir şekilde ifade edebileceklerini ifade ettiniz. Tabii bunların yanında zararları da var. Tabii biz de bunların üzerinde duruyoruz. Bu programımızı da bunun için zaten icra etmeye çalıştık. Bunları nasıl önleyebiliriz'in cevabını sizlerden almak istedik. Onlara verdiğiniz cevaplarda sosyal medya dünyada bağımlılığa dönüştüğünü ifade ettiniz. Güvenilirlik konusunun öne çıktığını söylediniz. İnternette her şeyin doğru olmadığını, yalan haberlerin, abartılı içeriklerin çoğaldığını, gençler ve çocuklara sahte haberlerin gelmesi halinde nasıl bu sahte haberlerin doğrulanacağını bilmediklerini ifade ettiniz. Ahlak ve maneviyatı atalarımızdan miras kalan bir anlayış, ancak sosyal medyanın içeriğinin kontrolünün biz Müslümanların elinde olmadığını ifade ettiniz. Bu yüzden etik bakış açısından yola çıkarak sosyal medyanın zorluklarına karşı diğer din mensuplarıyla birlikte de beraber çalışabileceğimizi, bu aslında sadece Müslümanların sorunu olmadığını, tüm dünya insanlığının bir sorunu olduğunu bizlere ifade ettiniz. Gençlerin yoldan sapmamaları için okullarda, kulüplerde, mescitlerde, kiliselerde sosyal medyanın zararları konusunda rehberlik sağlanması gerektiğini ifade ettiniz. İnternetten kaçmak mümkün değil elbette, ancak internetin nasıl kullanılmalı, sosyal medya nasıl kullanılmalı, bu konularda çocuklarımızı çok güzel bir şekilde eğitmemiz gerektiğini ifade ettiniz. Mobil telefon sizi kontrol etmesin, siz onu kontrol edin. En güzel cümlelerden birisi de bu oldu bu gecenin cümlelerinden. İnterneti düzenleyen mevzuat da önemli tabii ki. Kanunlar, toplumu korumak, anne babaları, çocukları korumak amacıyla yasalar çıkarılması gerektiğini ifade ettiniz. Bunlardan bir demet olarak bize sunumlarınızda sundunuz. Sizlere çok çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Faruk Bey'e, Mr. Kamaruzaman'a, özellikle de dinleyicilerimize bu programımıza katıldıkları için hepsine çok ayrı ayrı teşekkür ediyoruz. Bu programlarımızın devamını yapmaya gayret edeceğiz inşallah. Son olarak birkaç cümleyle Hamdi Başkanımıza sözü bırakmak istiyorum. Programımızı kapatmadan önce selamlama konuşması yapmak üzere Hamdi Başkanımıza sözü bırakmak istiyorum. Buyurun Hamdi Hocam.
Teşekkür ediyorum. Selamünaleyküm. Muhterem hocalarım, Kamaruzaman ve Faruk Terzic Bey'e teşekkür ediyorum. Gecenin vaktine kadar bizimle zamanlarını paylaştılar, bilgilerini paylaştılar, görüşlerini paylaştılar. Çok teşekkür ediyorum. Ve bu saate kadar bizi sabırla dinleyen diğer arkadaşlarıma da teşekkür ediyorum, bütün katılımcılara. Evet, internet ve sosyal medya, bugünkü dijital dünya diğer adıyla gerçekten kontrol edilmesi gereken bir zemin. Özellikle biz Müslüman dünya olarak bunun acemisiyiz. Çünkü bu internet dünyasını, dijital dünyayı üretenler bizler değiliz. Yaygınlaştıranlar bizler değiliz. Biz maalesef şu anda dünya üzerinde bunun kullanıcıları durumundayız. Anlaşılan şu ki bizim sadece kullanıcı olmaktan çıkıp bunun içeriğine müdahale eder hale gelmemiz gerekiyor. Bunu bilim adamlarımızla, çalışanlarımızla, devlet yöneticilerimizle dert edinip de artık bu dijital dünyayı kontrol eden insanların içerisinde, grupların içerisinde bizim de girmemiz gerekiyor. Anlaşılan bu. İnternet dünyasında üretim yapmak mutlaka gerekiyor. Çünkü bu kadar bilgi kirliliğinin içerisinde insanların doğru bilgiyi seçmesi kolay değil. Madem ki bu kadar kolay olmayan bir zemin, biz bunu kolaylaştıralım. Doğru bilgiyi, hak olanı, yani helal olanı insanlara ulaştırmak için çalışma yapalım. İnşallah bir gün bunları da başarırız. Bugün, bu akşam, şimdiye kadar, bu zamana kadar bize zamanını ayıran, ilmini bizimle paylaşan ve bizi dinleme zahmetinde bulunan arkadaşlarımızın tamamına teşekkür ediyorum. İnşallah daha güzel bir zamanlarda, daha güzel bir toplantıda yine görüşmek nasip olur. Faruk Bey'i ve Kamaruzaman Bey'i inşallah en kısa zamanda Türkiye'de misafir etmekten nasip olur. Teşekkür ediyorum. Hayırlı geceler olsun.
Genel Başkanımız Hamdi Sürücü Bey'e çok teşekkür ediyorum. Bu programımızda özellikle süreye riayet etmek zorunda kaldığımız için ve bu sebeple de konuşmacılarımızın sürelerini çok uzatamadığımız için kendilerinden özür diliyoruz ve ayrıca kendilerine çok çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Bir teşekkürümüz de simultane tercümemizi başarılı bir şekilde yapan Dilek Demirkol hanımefendiye çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Herkese hayırlı geceler, mutluluklar diliyorum. Selamun Aleyküm.
Evet, hayırlı geceler olsun herkese.